Hi team. Just wanted to put together this brief video on some of the nuts and bolts of Schoology. I know Gary's going to provide more thorough training later, but just to get you guys started, and just also so you guys are comfortable posting some things and knowing what it's going to do and how students are going to see them. That's the point of this brief video. First thing, if just to kind of help you find your courses, one thing you can do is you can change the picture. And so what I've done is I've already created a screenshot of numbers, and so this is, for example, this is actually my block 6. So I'll see a 6 there. So when I'm here, I know that I'm in the right block because here it says section 1, but it's actually during block 6. All right, so that's the point of this, and this kind of helps students also know which class that they're in. But for them, they only have one of each, so it's a lot simpler. Either way, this could be helpful. The next thing is the course settings, and so you wanna visit this. I've already adjusted this. The default, I believe, is maybe something like this, and or maybe it's like that. Whatever it is, what I would recommend is, unless you don't want students to post messages for the whole class, I would restrict that, make it just course admin. You want students to be able to comment on updates, so leave that with all members. And for discussions, I don't allow them to edit. So once they've posted a discussion, they can only add a comment, but they can't change their original response. And so the only way that you'll be able to do that is by choosing this setting. The other thing is the default landing page. There are two options. The updates page, which is where like you post messages for the whole class. I tend to use the materials page 98% of the time, so I'm one of those teachers that will prefer the materials page as the landing page. But others, you'll see, they'll prefer the other one. And so once you save it, that's the way it's going to be. Now back to the course. When you create assignments or whatever it is that you're creating here, one of the things that you'll notice is that they're all highlighted, and the reason for that is because I have them all as unpublished, and this is so students can't see them. And once I want students to see them, then I just hit publish. It'll prompt me, and then once I click on publish, you'll see the difference. You see how it's not highlighted anymore, and that means students can now view it. And so I'm going to go back and unpublish this. After you create assignments or documents or whatever it is in one block and you want to copy the same to your other blocks, simply go to hit the drop down box, copy to course, and it'll prompt you which courses you want. So let's say you want it for all 3 of these. It'll ask you for a bunch of information. I tend to, like, you can try and see how it works. Maybe this will save you some time later. Now you'll notice when I hit folder, it's none because I haven't created folders in my other courses yet. I don't have any other categories, so it won't allow me to change anything. But once you have different categories, you'll be able to select those here as well as rubrics. Now, for the scale and rubric, don't go with plus or A, the letter scale. I go with numeric because because Schoology only allows you to enter a numeric value, so I go with the numeric scale, and the rest you can leave alone. And you can see you can do this for multiple courses at once. I'm going to cancel this because I don't want to actually perform this function. Now, as far as I'm going to go into an assignment, so let's just say this one here, I'm going to go to edit, and so I want to see what I've selected for students. And so at this point, you'll notice I don't have a due date. So if I want to, so you can, what I would suggest for the name conventions, we have to start with the course, so social studies. And in high school, you can put world history or AP world or US history or whatever the course is. In middle school, it's just generic social studies. And then whatever I name that particular assignment. One thing you can also add, if it's homework, you would add that right there. If it's a summative, you would do that right there, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And one thing you can also do, if you want to add the time, so for example, you think this is going to be a 15-minute assignment, and let's just say if it was homework, then this will, at a glance, people can see, oh, okay, I see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and remove that though, because this is classwork. And then you can enter whatever text you want. You can, you got this toolbar, a lot of functions there. I'm going to go ahead and leave that to you. Now, as far as due dates go, you can pick whatever you want. And so let's just say this is something I was going to do the second week on Friday. So then I pick that day, and I can set a time. Let's just say it's at the end of third block of that day, not necessarily block 3. And let's just say this was a 5-point assignment. I can enter that there. If you enter points, you probably, and so if you want to create a new category, let's just say this is application. And so then you have your category there. Now you can also select a rubric. And so I don't have any rubrics created for this course, so it's not an option yet, but you can create one. And I'll show you guys in a second how to create rubrics on a different page, not here. And so right now, I have really nothing selected. So let's just say students will submit some e-file for this. So then you want to just click on Submissions Enabled. This is just simply the Publish and Unpublished button. This is so they can see certain statistics. I tend to leave these alone. Now, you can also go to our standards, and I don't see our standards here, so maybe these will be added later. Once those are added, you can actually select them right here. Now let's just say you want to just assign this particular assignment to 1 or 2 students, and so you see I can select just Royce, and there's got to be a Kim in here, right? So I can select just 3 of the 15 or so students I have. And let's just say you have a similar assignment for somebody else, or possibly if you have groups and you only want that particular group to view specific information, then you can create it separately, where in your folder you'll see 3 or 4 different assignments for the same activity. Students will only see the one you assign to them. All right, so you do have this option like this. And then once you save, that's the way it's going to be. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cancel everything. Now, but I actually will, I'll show you something else. All right, so once you post something and have, say, like a submission due, no, wrong one. One thing that they'll see is they'll have this column over here that says upcoming. And so you see that for this group that I've created, I've entered all these events. And so students will see if you have an assignment that's due on a particular day, so the time that you have as the due date, that's what they'll see here. So I put 3:15, so they'll see this, and they can click on it and they can view other information you have entered there as well. Now, as far as your course goes, we have these folders. Now we also have this calendar. And so the calendar, you can add events. So it's not necessarily something that you're going to create an assignment for, but let's just say they have a quiz this day. And so then you can just simply put and then if you want to have like some terms or other information that are key points for the information that you covered, then you can have it here. And then once you create that, they'll see it. So when they're in their course, they'll see it as upcoming as well. All right, so there's different things you can do here. Now, the last thing I want to show you is creating rubrics. So you go to Gradebook. Apologies, you go to Grade Setup, and you go over here to Rubrics, and then you add a rubric. And then at this point, you should know what to do. It's just simply filling in the boxes. If you want to do application, and then let's just say you want to change these to exceeds expectations. Say you only want 3 and you want these to be, I don't know, 5, 4, and 3. So you have that, and let's just say you want to add another category, and it's simply repeating the process. Whatever you have last, when you hit add another criteria, it'll copy what you had before. So what I typically do is I'll create just the generic category first, and then I'll fill everything in so it doesn't copy everything. And then once you create it, oh, it didn't. So once you create it, you see here that exploration is there. So now when I go back into whichever assignment I want, so let's just say it's this one here. Go back into edit, and I go to scale rubric. Now exploration is there, and you see the categories that I have appear there. And then once you save it, it's now part of the assignment. And by having a rubric, when you, oh, there's one thing I didn't do, so it's not allowing me to see one thing. So let's do this. Enable submissions. By doing that, this right here will tell you, just basic information. There's something that I wanted to show, but it's not appearing, and maybe it's because I didn't publish it. Nope. Usually there's another box right here where you can score them. You can go through it, but anyways, I think these are just some basics to get you started. I think like navigating within a page is fairly straightforward, but just what students see I think is the key right now. And so if you guys have any questions on stuff like this, just let me know, and I can hopefully fill you in and guide you a little bit more. All right. Have a great start to the year.